Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the studio. You're tuning in to Episode 7 of Module 2 of the Blueprint for Effortless English. I'm your co-host, Ben.
And I'm Anna. Welcome back, everyone. We're officially moving into the final stretch of Module 2. We've laid down some incredible groundwork over the last 6 episodes, and today we're going to fine-tune the instrument even more.
We really are. This module's all about the rhythm of fluency. We've talked about the big picture stuff, like sentence stress, connected speech, and pausing. We also dug into contractions and that lazy schwa sound. But today, we're zooming in. We're looking at the micro music of English. Today's topic is vowel length and meaning.
Before we grab our magnifying glasses and dive into the vowels, we've got a quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying this 50-episode journey and you're feeling the physical shift in your pronunciation, please hit that like button and subscribe to the English Chatcast channel.
It's the best way to support the show and help us reach more learners who are struggling to sound natural. We appreciate every single one of you in this growing community.
Now, Ben, let's connect today's topic to our last episode. In Episode 6, we talked about contractions, and specifically, we talked about dropping the final T sound in negative words like don't and can't.
Right. We talked about using a glottal stop. You trap the air in your throat instead of popping the T out of your mouth.
That rule blew a lot of minds, but it also brought up a massive question from our students. If native speakers are constantly dropping or swallowing the final consonants of their words, how in the world do we know what word they're actually saying?
That's the million-dollar question. If I say the word bat, like a baseball bat, and I swallow the T, and then I say the word bad, like a bad dog, and I swallow the D, how do you know the difference? I didn't clearly pronounce the final letter of either word.
If you're relying strictly on the consonants, you'd be completely lost. But native speakers aren't listening for the consonants at the end of the word. We're listening to the vowel in the middle of the word.
Exactly. This the secret of vowel length. In English, the length of your vowel, meaning how long you physically hold the sound with your vocal cords, tells the listener what consonant is coming at the end of the word, even if you don't fully pronounce that consonant.
To understand how this works, we've got to talk about the anatomy of your throat for just a minute. We need to categorize English consonants into 2 distinct groups: voiced consonants and unvoiced consonants.
This is a crucial physical shift. An unvoiced consonant is a sound made entirely with air. Your vocal cords don't vibrate at all. It's just wind passing through your lips or teeth.
A great example is the S sound. Let's try an experiment right now. Take your hand and place it flat against the front of your throat, right over your voice box. Now make a long S sound like a snake.
You shouldn't feel any vibration on your hand. Your throat's completely still. The sound's being made entirely by the air pushing past your teeth. That means S is an unvoiced consonant.
Other unvoiced consonants include the F sound, the P sound, the T sound, and the K sound. They're all just puffs of air. P, T, K. No vibration.
Now, let's look at the other group, voiced consonants. For these sounds, you must turn your vocal cords on. Your throat has to vibrate to create the sound.
Keep your hand on your throat. We just did the unvoiced S sound. Now we're going to make the exact same mouth shape, but we're going to turn the voice box on and make a Z sound. Z.
You should feel a very strong buzzing sensation right under your hand. Your vocal cords are vibrating rapidly. That means Z is a voiced consonant.
Every unvoiced consonant usually has a voiced twin. The mouth shape's exactly the same, but the throat vibration changes. The unvoiced F becomes the voiced V. F, 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 v, v, v.
The unvoiced P becomes the voiced B. The unvoiced T becomes the voiced D. The unvoiced K becomes the voiced G.
So why does all of this throat vibration matter for our vowels? Here's the golden rule of vowel length. Are you ready?
Lay it on, Amanda.
In English, a vowel is always spoken slightly longer and slower when it's followed by a voiced consonant, and that exact same vowel is chopped short and spoken quickly when it's followed by an unvoiced consonant.
I'll repeat that because it's the master key for today's episode. Voiced consonants stretch the vowel out. Unvoiced consonants cut the vowel short.
Let's prove it with some examples. Let's take the A vowel sound, like in the word cat. First, we'll put an unvoiced consonant at the end, the letter K. The word is back. B-A-C-K.
Back.
Now, let's keep the exact same vowel, but change the ending to a voiced consonant, the letter G. The word is bag. B-A-G.
Bag. Listen to how much longer that A sound just became. Bag. I'm stretching it out. Back. Bag. Back. Bag.
It's a massive difference. Let's do another pair. Let's use the E sound. First, the unvoiced T. The word is seat. S-E-A-T. Please take a seat.
The vowels cut short. Seat. Now let's change it to the voiced D. The word is seed. S-E-E-D. Plant a seed.
Seed. Seat. Seed. Seat.
This is exactly how we solved the mystery from the beginning of the episode. How do we tell the difference between bat and bad if we don't pronounce the final letters?
We stretch the vowel. Bat has an unvoiced T, so the vowel's fast. Bat. Bad has a voiced D, so the vowel's long. Bad. Even if I whisper the end of the word, you know I'm saying bad because you heard the length of the A.
This completely transforms how you should think about pronunciation. Most learners obsess over articulating the final consonants perfectly. They spit and sputter, trying to make the D and the T super clear.
But native speakers find that really distracting. If you overpronounce the final consonants, you interrupt the rhythm of the river. We don't want to hear the hard consonants. We want to hear the music of the vowels swelling and shrinking.
Let's practice some more pairs so our listeners can really train their ears to hear this micro music. Let's look at the words safe and save.
Safe ends in an unvoiced F. The vowel is short. Safe. Save ends in a voiced V. The vowel is stretched. Save. I feel safe. I want to save money.
What about the words half and have? This is a great one because the spelling's tricky, but the phonetic rule's identical. Half ends in the unvoiced F sound, short vowel, half.
Have ends in the voiced V sound, long vowel, have. Give me half. I have it. Half. Have.
Let's look at the word eyes, like the eyes on your face, versus the word ice, like the frozen water.
Ice ends with an unvoiced S sound, short vowel, ice. Eyes ends with a voiced Z sound, long vowel, eyes.
I want some ice. Look at my eyes.
If you don't use the correct vowel length here, you're going to cause a lot of confusion. If you ask a waiter for some eyes in your drink, he's going to look at you like you're a crazy person.
And the crazy things that a learner might think they're pronouncing the word perfectly. They might say, "But Ben and Anna, I said an S sound for ice and a Z sound for eyes. Why didn't they understand me?"
And the harsh truths that the native speaker didn't even notice your S or your Z. They heard a long vowel, so their brain automatically registered the word eyes. Your vowel length betrayed your consonants.
The vowel length is the primary signal. The consonant is just the secondary signal. If the signals don't match, the native speaker's brain will almost always trust the vowel length over the consonant.
Let's look at another classic minimal pair. Peace and peas. World peace versus a bowl of green peas.
Peace ends with an unvoiced S sound. Short vowel, peace. Peas ends with a voiced Z sound. Long vowel, peas. We want peace. Eat your peas.
Piss.
That's 'cause the English mouth's programmed for this efficiency. It actually takes more physical energy to keep your vocal cords vibrating for a voiced consonant, so we naturally stretch the vowel right before it to build up the momentum.
It's all about physics and airflow. Unvoiced consonants stop the air quickly. Voiced consonants let the engine keep humming.
Let's talk about how this rule applies to plural words, 'cause this is another area where learners get completely tripped up.
Oh, the plural S. This is such a common mistake. Most learners are taught that you just slap an S sound onto the end of a word to make it plural. One cat, two cats. One dog, two dogs.
But the plural S isn't always an S sound. Sometimes it's a Z sound, and the rule for which one to use depends entirely on what we're talking about today, voiced versus unvoiced endings.
If a word ends in an unvoiced consonant, like the T in cat, then the plural sound is an unvoiced S, cats. The whole ending of the word is unvoiced. Short vowel, sharp T, sharp S, cats.
But if a word ends in a voiced consonant, like the G in dog, you can't easily jump from a voiced G to an unvoiced S. Your throat doesn't want to turn off that quickly. So the S automatically turns into a voiced Z sound, dogs.
And 'cause that final G and Z are voiced, the vowel in the middle of the word has to stretch. Dog. Dogs. Compare that to the short, sharp sound of cats. Cats. Dogs.
Let's do another one. Cup ends in an unvoiced P, so the plural is an unvoiced S, and the vowel is short, cups.
Now, let's take the word pen. The N sound is voiced. Your throat vibrates on an N. So the plural has to be a Z sound, and the vowel stretches. Pens.
Cups, pens, books, bags, hats, shoes. You can hear the rhythm bouncing back and forth between short and long, unvoiced and voiced.
When you start applying this vowel length rule, your English instantly stops sounding choppy. That choppiness that learners hate, that robotic feeling we talked about in episode 1, it often comes from chopping all your vowels to the exact same short length.
Yes, a lot of languages don't have this dynamic vowel stretching. Spanish, for example, has very crisp, consistent vowel lengths. So when a Spanish speaker learns English, they apply that crispness to every word.
They say back and bag with the exact same short A sound. And 'cause the vowels don't breathe and stretch, the rhythm sounds rigid. It sounds like a machine gun instead of a flowing river.
To fix this, you've got to give yourself permission to be dramatic with your vowels.
When you see a voiced consonant at the end of a word, I want you to treat it like a musical note that you've got to hold for an extra beat.
Road.
Think of the word job. Ends in a voiced B. Don't say job, say jube. I got a new jube.
It might feel slightly ridiculous when you're practicing alone in your room, but I promise you, to a native speaker, it just sounds relaxed and fluent.
Now, I want to add a small layer of complexity to this just so our advanced learners are fully equipped. The rule we're discussing today about voiced consonants stretching vowels happens primarily at the end of a word or the end of a thought group.
That's an important distinction. The stretching is most obvious right before a pause. If the word's buried in the middle of a fast sentence, the stretch won't be quite as dramatic, though it's still there.
Right. If I say, I have a bag of apples, the word bag is in the middle of the flow. It's longer than back, but it's not super exaggerated.
But if I say, look at that heavy bag, and bag is the last word before I pause, that's when the vowel really expands. Look at that heavy bag.
This ties right back into intonation and the power of the pause. You're stretching the vowel to signal to the listener that the thought group's coming to an end. It's a deceleration technique. You're gently pressing the brakes before you hit the stop sign.
That's a brilliant way to visualize it. Short vowels keep you accelerating, long vowels help you decelerate smoothly.
Let's do a little interactive quiz for our listeners. I'm going to say 3 words. I want you at home to listen carefully and decide if I'm using a short vowel or a long, stretched vowel.
This is a great ear training exercise. Go ahead, Anna.
Okay, word number 1. Node. N-O-D-E. Node.
Did you hear it at home? Node. It's a long, stretched vowel. That's 'cause it ends in a voiced D sound.
Note. N-O-T-E. Note.
Note.
Cap. C-A-P. Cap.
Unvoiced P. Cap.
And let's turn that last one into a voiced ending. Cab. C-A-B. Cab.
Cab. You're riding in a cab. You wear a cap on your head.
Once you tune your ear to this frequency, you'll start hearing it everywhere. You'll watch a movie and realize the actors are constantly stretching and shrinking their vowels to create the melody of the scene.
It's the hidden code of English pronunciation, and it's so much more important than trying to force your tongue to make the perfect R sound or TH sound.
I completely agree. A slight mispronunciation of a TH sound might give you a mild accent, but it rarely destroys comprehension. But messing up your vowel length can completely change the vocabulary word the listener hears.
It's the difference between asking someone for a piece of advice and asking someone for a piece of advice.
Exactly. Piece, unvoiced S, short vowel. Peas, voiced Z, long vowel. You want a piece of cake, you don't want a piece of cake.
That brings us to our mission for episode 7. We want you to start actively playing with this elastic band in your mouth. We want you to practice stretching and shrinking.
Your homework for this week is to create your own list of minimal pairs. A minimal pair is a set of 2 words that are identical except for one sound, in this case, the final consonant.
We gave you some great ones today. Bat and bad, back and bag, half and have, safe and save.
I want you to sit down with a piece of paper and brainstorm at least 5 more pairs of your own. Look for words ending in T and D, P and B, K and G, or S and Z.
Once you've got your list of 5 pairs, I want you to practice reading them out loud. But I want you to exaggerate the rule. When you read the unvoiced word, say it as fast and sharply as you possibly can.
And...
After you've trained your mouth with these exaggerated pairs, I want you to come down to the comments section of this episode. Share your favorite minimal pair from your list.
Tell us which pair felt the strangest in your mouth when you tried to stretch the vowel. Sometimes words we've been saying wrong for years feel very weird when we finally say them right.
We love reading about those aha moments, when the physical mechanics finally click into place and you realize why you've been misunderstood in the past. It's incredibly empowering.
You're doing phenomenal work. You've survived the deep dive into the micro-music of vowels. Your rhythm's getting more sophisticated by the minute.
In our next episode, Episode 8, we're going to tackle one of the most physically intimidating aspects of the English language. We're going to talk about consonant clusters.
Oh yes, what happens when English decides to throw 3 or 4 heavy consonants right next to each other without any vowels to break them up? Words like strengths or texts.
It feels like a traffic jam in your mouth, but we're going to show you the native speaker shortcuts for breaking up that traffic and keeping the river flowing smoothly.
It's going to be a lifesaver for your pronunciation confidence. You definitely don't want to miss it.
But for today, focus on the stretch. Turn your vocal cords on for those voiced endings and let the vowels breathe.
I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
If you learned something new about vowel length today, please like and subscribe. Keep stretching those vowels. Until next time, keep practicing, keep listening, and remember, learning English with us is
a piece of cake. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time on the English Chatcast.